Reacher's first episode hooked us with this one scene. The first season of Prime Video's Reacher delivered on every level. Not only was the show a breakout success and a hit with both critics and audiences, but after its debut, the series ranked as one of Prime Video's most watched series ever in the U.S. and abroad. The viewership and interest in the show were so high that Reacher received a quick Season 2 renewal a mere 3 days after the show's launch. With Reacher Season 2 now in the rearview and an even faster third season renewal already assuring the series' future, it's time to take a look back at the first season and the scene that had us hooked from the pilot, the prison bathroom fight. Reacher's first episode is a slow burn to unleashing hell based on Lee Child's Jack Reacher book series. The new television series hits a home run with its first episode. It introduces the show's season-long murder mystery, which Jack Reacher, Alan Ritchson, later discovers is his own brother, along with Ritchson as the new actor portraying Reacher. From his first scene, Ritchson's Reacher exudes an undeniable presence, intimidating with his steely gaze and towering physique. However, the series utilizes a slow burn technique and waits to showcase Reacher's first legitimate fight scene in the series. Rather than unveiling a big fight scene with Reacher right off the bat, the episode builds up to that fight sequence and makes both the narrative and the audience earn that moment. Reacher opts for a more interesting choice early on by establishing the character's intellectual prowess. In his interrogation scene with Detective Finley, Malcolm Goodwin, the series shows that Reacher has been taking stock of every minute detail at the Margrave police station since his arrest. The early scenes establish that Reacher is not a book to be judged by its cover, pun intended, or a person who can be judged by mere appearance alone. Reacher might look like a musclehead, but he's actually rather brilliant, with a keen intellect. In yet another scene demonstrating Reacher's intellectual prowess, he easily talks down the prison guard, Spivvy, Patrick Garrow, who processes Reacher and Hubble at the lockup. Reacher denies the prison guard a strip search, confidently explaining the legal regulations that would make any type of strip search related to their suspected crimes unlawful. With just a few words and his steely presence, Reacher intimidates the prison guard into submission. Reacher's prison bathroom fight scene is something to behold. It's not until the prison bathroom fight that the series finally unveils that Reacher is a true force to be reckoned with. After Detective Finley sends Reacher and Paul Hubble, Mark Bendavid, to the county lockup for a week, a group of inmates targets Hubble for execution in the prison bathroom. Reacher's keen intellect quickly clues him in on what is about to happen, and he knows there is only one way out of this situation. He begins with a preamble, warning the other prisoners, "If you know what'll happen to you, you'll leave now. So I'll give you to the count of 3. There is no count to 3. Reacher jacks up the first inmate with a mammoth headbutt and does everything he can to take his attackers by surprise. Every move Reacher makes in this fight is done to quickly incapacitate his opponents. His fighting moves are not meant to look flashy, they are quick and brutal. The scene effectively showcases that Reacher is in a fight for his life. If he makes one mistake here, he and Hubble are going to get brutally massacred. Reacher's only recourse is to incapacitate the other inmates before they get a chance to lay a hand on them. The most eye-popping, quite literally moment of the scene comes when Reacher catches one of the inmates carrying a makeshift prison shank and jams his thumb right into the thug's eye socket. He also gets the better of another inmate who tried to attack him from behind, slamming him against a wall before stomping the thug's ankle, immediately snapping it in twain. The actual fight portion of this scene lasts less than a minute. However, for that short time frame, Reacher unleashes hell on his opponents. All his attackers are incapacitated, and Reacher is the only one left standing before the prison guards arrive to mop up the chaos. The short length of this scene is important, too, since it displays that Reacher is aware of the stakes. He's not trying to stall for time or give the audience a long, drawn-out action scene. He's fighting for his and Hubble's survival. The sequence also displays that Reacher has seen combat from his military background and knows how to deal with a situation when cornered by a group of assailants. The success of any television series often hinges on its ability to immediately grab the audience's attention. Viewers may tolerate a slow burn or a gradual build-up in a show, but in today's fast-paced media landscape, the opening scene must strike hard. It needs to set the tone, introduce the key players, and make a lasting impression. Reacher, Amazon Prime's adaptation of Lee Child's iconic character, Jack Reacher, does this in a way that has kept audiences talking from the very first episode. And while the entire pilot is full of action, suspense, and intrigue, there is one scene that stands out above all the rest, the diner scene. It's a masterclass in establishing character and tension, hooking viewers into the world of Reacher immediately. The setup, simplicity, and suspense. The scene takes place in a small-town Georgia diner, a nondescript locale that, on the surface, might seem like a mundane, sleepy place. The lighting is warm, there's soft chatter, and it feels like a quiet morning where the most excitement anyone expects is a fresh cup of coffee. But the tranquility is shattered by the entry of Jack Reacher. A drifter with no belongings and no apparent connections, Reacher's arrival already feels significant, as though his presence alone disrupts the calm. Reacher walks into the diner, massive in stature and silently confident. This is a man used to being underestimated. At first glance, Reacher's casual demeanor could be mistaken for a harmless wanderer, but there's an undeniable tension brewing under the surface. He has no need for flashy introductions or complex dialogue to make his presence felt. The quiet intensity in his posture, his deliberate movements, and his lack of outward emotion all speak volumes. In this moment, we're shown everything we need to know about who Reacher is. A man who won't be intimidated, who prefers to observe quietly, but who is always prepared for trouble. The brilliance of the scene comes not from what happens at first, but from the deliberate build-up. The camera lingers on Reacher, showing us his physicality. He towers over everyone else, his shoulders broad, his face calm but unreadable. The small-town police officers who enter the diner after him seem almost insignificant in comparison. This disparity sets the stage for the impending conflict, but viewers are left wondering how it will unfold. The arrest. Subverting expectations in a clever subversion of typical action thriller tropes, Reacher's first major interaction with the law isn't a firefight or a confrontation. Instead, the officers quietly approach him, making it clear he's under suspicion for a recent murder in the town. Here's where the magic happens. Reacher doesn't resist, argue, or attempt to clear his name. He doesn't need to. His silent compliance, paired with the cops' uncertainty about who they're dealing with, tells the audience everything about the power dynamic. Reacher could easily resist, but he chooses not to, demonstrating that while he's not afraid of violence, he doesn't need to resort to it without purpose. This calm and methodical approach immediately sets Reacher apart from other action heroes we've seen. He's not brash, arrogant, or quick to pull a weapon. Instead, he's deliberate, calculated, and always in control. The tension in the diner mounts as we, the audience, are left waiting for the moment when Reacher will reveal just how dangerous he can be. But that moment doesn't come, at least not in the way we expect. Instead, we get something much more powerful: restraint. The power of restraint. A study in character, the restraint Reacher shows in this scene is not only a testament to his character, but also a bold narrative choice. Most action heroes, when falsely accused, would leap into action, fists flying, tables overturned, guns drawn. Reacher does none of that. He allows himself to be cuffed and taken into custody, knowing full well that he could walk out of the diner unscathed if he chose to. But he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. This quiet confidence,